JYP and YG all released their second quarter earnings, and you sent me some questions which we will be answering today. Is gross revenue or gross sales important considering they will be deducting taxes, payables, etc. with it? What is operating profit and what is EBITDA? What is year on year and what is the equivalent of year on year when you are talking quarterly? Next, part of YG's losses is bad debts to sponsorship fees for Blackpink's world tour. What is that? How did HYBE earn so much when there is supposed to be a boycott? And why is JYP's revenue so small when they have two of the biggest groups active right now, Stray Kids and Twice? Let's go through it one by one. EBITDA is the earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. It is an alternative measure of profitability to net income. But don't get so hanged up on this. Not a lot of companies really look at this. They actually have been criticized in the past for looking too much into it. At the end of the day, net profit is still the most important measure. What is operating profit? Operating profit is the amount of money a company has left after paying for operating costs, but before paying taxes. Operating costs would include cost of goods sold, fixed costs like rent, insurance, variable costs like shipping and payroll, and depreciation and amortization of assets. COGS, or cost of goods sold, is the amount of money it requires a company to produce a product. For example, if they need to produce a CD and it costs them $5 to make one CD, that is their COGS. Is gross revenue or gross sales important considering they will be deducting taxes, payables, etc. with it? Yes, it's cash flow. When you have debts to pay, and all businesses do have debts, you usually have net 30, net 60, net 120, etc. This means after you order something, you actually have 30 days or 60 days or 120 days to pay it off. That means even if you have the money now, you can use that money to do something else because cash will flow in anyway. And by the time you need to pay your invoices, then you have money on hand. What is year on year and what is the equivalent of year on year in quarters? Year on year is when you compare a time frame this year to that of last year. For example, I will compare my August revenue this year to August of last year. This is because there are some things that are seasonal. For example, if I compare my sales or revenue on December to November, December will always win, most likely because it's Christmas. So it's better to compare December of this year to December of last year and see how I did given the same external factors. For the next three questions, first, let's look at the numbers. I will be reading out the dollars instead of won, just so we can get a better idea on how much each company is actually earning. However, my conversion is based on today's conversion. For gross revenue, HYBE takes it with $480 million. Next is SM with $190,425,000. JYP is next with $72 million, and then YG with $67,500,000. For operating profit, HYBE is at $38,250,000, SM is at $12 million, JYP at $15 million, and YG negative $8,250,000. Let's not go through EBITDA because not everyone reported it. For net profit, HYBE took $15,750,000, while SM took $5,250,000, JYP $1,073,250, and YG negative $255,000 US. First is HYBE. Weverse recorded its highest average revenue per paying user. It means customers are actually spending more. One of the biggest push is Jin's discharge from the military. The requirement to join the raffle was to buy an album, and he also did members-only Weverse Live. So a lot of people actually started paying. During quarter two, many of HYBE's group actually made successful comebacks. That included Les Seraphim with Easy, I'll It with Super Real Me, their very first, New Jeans with How Sweet, 17 with 17 Is Right Here, TXT with Minnesota 3, Tomorrow, and HYBE with Memorabilia. They accounted for 34% of total album sales in Korea. They also dominated streaming. They represented 8 out of 10 most streamed K-pop tracks globally, excluding Korea, in the first half of 2024. Operating profit, however, went down 37% year-on-year. They said it's because they're making a lot of new investments on technologies, new businesses, and investing in new artists. However, they did recover quarter-on-quarter by 253%. They also went down year-on-year on net profit by 85% to 16.53 billion South Korean won, but jumped 49% quarter-on-quarter. Now the question is, HYBE said this is their highest quarterly revenue to date. Why are they earning when there is supposed to be a boycott? Because the boycott isn't real. Those that are boycotting were never paying customers to begin with. Many of them are haters that are just pretending to be fans so they can convince other armies and other fans of groups under HYBE to boycott. I am anticipating that things are going to get better financially in the next half of 2024 for HYBE because there are several groups that are making a comeback and also starting tours. Les Seraphim will have a comeback. I'll It is going to come back too. Jin is, of course, anticipated to release an album really soon. I am anticipating that J-Hope will release an album before the end of the year. He's going to be released from the military in August, and possibly by next year start a tour for half a year until BTS comes back. 17 will tour. TXT and HYBE will tour. I am anticipating that Les Seraphim will also start a tour before the end of the year. Jin might do some shows, but I don't think he has enough songs for a tour. The increase in average spend of Weverse members and the increase in merchandise sales is big for HYBE because this is what they have been gunning for. They really want to be able to produce merchandise or experience or products that would be easier to scale without having to require an artist to do more. If they can create a merchandise line, for example, they can produce 5 million of that, sell it, and the artist doesn't have to do anything. Then the artist can just concentrate on making music, in rehearsing for a concert, shooting music videos. Because the truth is, how many concerts can an artist really do in a year and still stay healthy and still sane, right? So it's so limited. So if you're able to create merchandise and experience and products that don't necessarily directly involve an artist, it would allow HYBE to generate income for the artist, still develop the relationship between the fans and the artist because you're using their IP, but still scale the income. So I think in the coming years, this is what they will try to master. They will want a lot more merchandise, a lot more products, and a lot more of translations of different IPs into different experiences, into different products. Like, for example, music video stories, they're translating into drama, things like that. Now for SM. Their sales increased year-on-year, but their operating profit and net income fell. They said it's because a lot of their subsidiaries lost money, but the core company actually gained. Digital music and physical albums, they actually gained 71.7 billion. And in concert sales, they actually earned 37.2 billion. They said it's primarily because of NCT Dream who held a 15 large-scale performances in Korea, Japan, Thailand, Hong Kong, Singapore, and other Chinese countries. They were a major factor in the increase of concert sales. Here are some of their subsidiaries who lost money because they were expanding globally. They said that they have a lot of tours planned for the next half of the year. aespa will feature 25 performances in Japan, Singapore, Australia, and Macau. NCT Dream is going to push in the North and South American market and also in Europe. And Rise will tour focusing on Japan, Indonesia, and China.
A lot of people are surprised with the good financial reports of SM, primarily because they feel that they don't have the representative IP anymore, because they used to have Girls' Generation, TVXQ, the same way JYP has Stray Kids and Twice, and YG has, they used to have Big Bang and then 21, and then they had Blackpink. Now, a lot of people feel that SM groups are very, very young. It is true, a lot of their groups are young. I think aespa has the potential to be really big. It's just that they're still young. They need to be nurtured a little bit more. But then there's also NCT, which is very, very popular. It's just that they're not as established yet in North America and in Europe. But in certain parts of the world, especially in Korea, they're very big. And so I think the mere fact that SM managed to create so many groups, they were able to spread their investment, and now it's paying off. They may not have the TVXQ and the Girls' Generation that they used to have, but they have many groups that are big enough to sustain the company until they actually manage to find or develop and nurture other groups to become the flagship IP.
Now for JYP, there are two groups that are earning really well for JYP right now, Twice and Stray Kids. For both, they only earn an average of 30% of revenue and 20% for brand deals and merch. But for the first half, Stray Kids was making efforts to reach the Western audience, which included participating in festivals, events like the Met Gala, and collaborations with foreign artists like Charlie Puth. These are all investments. They didn't really earn a lot. They're just starting to widen their market. Their 9th EP, titled 8, was released July, and they are going to start a tour on the second half as well. So that will reflect in the Q3 earnings. Twice released their 13th EP with Youth. They were still touring until July. They don't sell a lot of albums, but they are very consistent. They also release a lot of albums, and they are very consistent in streaming. They mostly sold out their stadium concerts, except for Allegiant, I believe. They sold 97% of the tickets. Outside of those two, JYP is actually pursuing the most aggressive artist localization strategy among major entertainment companies. This means that they are building artists based on the country that they are targeting. However, because they're losing a lot of money, a lot of investors are doubting this approach. For example, Y2K is a Latin America to Korea audition program. Nothing has come out of that yet. They also have debuted 3 localized artists, including Nitsu, NextZ, and Vicha, with bases in the United States. They are also preparing to debut Project C, a team that will be active in China. And of the teams that have debuted, Nitsu or Nitzu is virtually the only one to have achieved significant success. They are in Japan. But after going platinum in the first album, their sales started to dwindle. Also, Vicha, a girl group that debuted in the United States January of this year, they were formed through an audition A2K held in North America last year. They actually had a total of 65.75 million views on their audition video and an average of 2.98 million views per episode. They got a lot of attention. But after releasing 2 pre-debut singles and formally debuting in January of this year, they didn't really get a lot of traction. they weren't able to sustain the buzz. Again, a lot of investors are doubting the strategy. So the answer to the question, why is their net revenue so small, considering they have two of the biggest groups right now, Stray Kids and Twice? First, because a lot of the money Stray Kids and Twice are earning are actually getting reinvested. Second, majority of what Stray Kids and Twice earn actually goes to the groups, not to JYP anymore. That's usually what happens after the renewal of the contract. Now, YG. Yang Yun-suk is the largest shareholder of YG with almost 20% shares. Now, despite the losses, he actually received a salary of nearly 1.5 billion won in the first half of the year, and the shareholders aren't happy. Yang Yun-suk said that investors should consider this the first year of establishing intellectual properties. So they are spending a lot. Basically, he's asking people to understand why they are at a loss. He promised, however, that Blackpink will go on a world tour on 2025, and I anticipate that a lot of groups will tour on 2025 to take advantage of the attention BTS will garner for K-pop when they come back. He also said that Baby Monster will release a full-length album second half of the year and tour early next year. He also said Treasure, a boy group under YG, will start doing global promotions. 21, as we all know, is also doing some activities to celebrate their 15th anniversary, and I'm assuming that if the results are good, they're actually going to go on a world tour. Now, the question is, what is bad debt? Because according to their report, approximately 2.1 billion won in bad debt related to sponsorship fee for Blackpink's world tour was recorded. Bad debt is when someone owes you, but you can't collect, or that you can repay. This could include loans or outstanding balances that are no longer considered recoverable and must be written off.
I know what you're thinking. What is it that they are unable to collect? Before I answer that question, let me just do a disclaimer. I don't see the books of YG Entertainment. What I am about to tell you is just based on my own analysis, using my experience in the entertainment industry, music industry, shows, concerts, business analysis, reporting, etc. Okay, I think everyone knows by now that Blackpink didn't sell out all of the stadiums, all of the venues. They sold out some, but not all of it. But to avoid the empty seats, they actually tapped a lot of companies, influencers, marketing companies to try and give away the tickets to fill the empty seats. But they declared it sold out, and so now they are unable to liquidate that. So that would be what they are unable to collect in order to promote for marketing and promotions of the Blackpink concert. We see a lot of the social media posts and stuff like that. So we know that, but not they sold out some, okay? They sold out some. The only thing is that I think because in US dollars, it would amount to about 1.5 million. I think that's too small because there's quite a number of venues that they weren't able to sell out. So that's it for YG. I do think the second half is going to be very interesting. Jin, of course, is going to release this album. I do think he's going to do some sort of special shows, primarily because he doesn't have enough songs yet for a solo tour. J-Hope, though, he has enough songs. So I think he's going to release his next album real quick and then do a tour before the return of the 6 members. But I think as soon as the Burr months, September, October, November, as soon as that starts, I think people are going to start, and the media will start counting down to the return of BTS members. The rest of the BTS members. And since not a lot happened while they were gone, I think companies are looking forward to them coming back and then maybe using the attention that they're going to get to try and kickstart their own groups. We're going to talk next, in the next episode, I'm going to break down some numbers to sort of demonstrate how stagnant it has been for K-pop in the last 2 years. So, but I think more than anything, we're going to see which groups will actually have the potential once the media attention slowly starts coming back to K-pop. We're going to see which groups will latch on, which one will stick, basically, of all the groups that are on, which one will stick. Next is that I do think the market is oversaturated. That's why but we will talk about that in detail in the next video. But the market is really oversaturated. So I think there's going to be some sort of a cleansing. Which ones are going to has the potential to actually stay longer. All right, let me know your thoughts. Please leave them in the comment section below. Make sure that you do it respectfully. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram, X, or on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram, and also follow me on Patreon. And if you ended up liking this video, subscribe, hit that notification button, and give it a like. Also, share it if you can, because that's really helping my channel. Thank you.